You want to do like a theme tune?
Questy did like a little shit voiceover, but I thought it was naff.
Welcome
We wasn't even
to Sonic Waffle.
Sonic Waffle.
Talking to your favourite people.
Not even your favourite, just whoever we can get hold of.
It's
Just whoever's
talking to random people.
Talking to whoever's available when I'm in town, and they can lend me their studio because I haven't got my own kit. So it's episode 2 of Sonic Waffle. Quest hasn't made it. He's still in a pub somewhere watching football because apparently that's coming home. But it doesn't matter because I've got a better host this week. I'm here with, Mr. Dom Howard, aka Mr. Ruckspin, aka Mr. Submotion Orchestra, aka Mr. Dom Howard Music. I don't know, he's got a lot of AKAs.
Worldwide.
Mr. World, Mr. 305, Mr. World, yeah. So, yeah, you're producing for Pitbull now. How's that working out for you?
No, I'm not doing that.
Nothing wrong with producing for Pitbull, Dom.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't offered yet.
Me and Ash applied for a job for Mr. 305 Worldwide Limited. They were looking for PR people and we applied.
Amazing.
We applied for that and we applied to be Sinead O'Connor's tour manager. We got neither.
Awesome.
I'm keen to point out. But we were ready. I mean, I think we could have done a bang-up job of doing Pitbull's PR.
Yeah.
I'm probably the only person that's listened to every Pitbull album.
Yeah.
I actually have.
You have?
I know it's pathetic, but I went through all of them in chronological order.
I feel for you.
Mate, first 2 are not bad.
Yeah?
Miami and El Mariel. This was when he was signed to Little John's label.
Yeah,
well, not Little John's, but
days.
when they were all signed to TVT.
Yeah.
He was pretty good gangster rapper. He was alright, and he did Get Low and Salt Shaker with the Yin Yang Twins.
Right.
Classic bangers.
I mean, what was the one the Yin Yang Twins did?
Get Low was their big
Get
one.
Low
That
was
was
the
through
big
the
one.
window to the wall. That one.
Right, okay.
That was their really seedy
and he was
one.
on that?
Yeah, he's on a remix of that. That was like that was when they brought him through, and that was like one of his kind of early big things.
Right.
And then they did another one together.
Was he just Mr. National?
He was Mr.
Semi-local?
No, he was just 305. He was just Miami. He weren't. He
wasn't Mr. Worldwide at that point.
No, he was barely semi-local. He was like Mr. Out on bail.
Mr. Next Door.
Yeah, Mr. Call Me When Your Budget's a shit. That was his early route. But
okay.
yeah, I mean, it's interesting that he was more chauvinist then, and as he's gone into pop territory, he's kind of leaned off on the dirty strip club anthems.
Saying, look, keep it between you and Chris Brown.
Oh,
yeah.
He's got arrested again for twatting a woman.
Has he?
Yeah,
What,
literally like a couple of days ago.
God damn it.
He's literally been done for more assaults than James Brown now.
It's so weird how many people just sort of gloss over it and just go, oh, he's amazing. And like girls.
Yeah.
Oh, wow,
because he's done 2 good tunes years ago.
It's like, what?
But it seems to be a thing with musical people with the surname Brown, because James Brown has been done for female assault battery. Ian Brown beat his wife up.
Really?
Yeah, Ian Brown got done for that, and he went to prison in strange ways for a bit for attacking a female air hostess with some plastic cutlery on a flight in 1998, I think it was. He got some plastic cutlery and threatened to cut her fucking hands off.
With plastic cutlery?
Yeah,
that would take quite a while.
So he got done for air rage.
He must,
that's like, must have been a long haul flight. You can't literally. You need 12 hours.
Stop moving! I'm trying to cut your hand.
If we were going to Thailand instead of Copenhagen, I would have your fucking hands off, woman. But yeah, he was in Strange Ways prison when because he wrote the whole of Golden Greats, which is his best album. Like, I'm not saying if you're struggling to write an album, you should go get banged up.
No,
but he did do his best work when he was and he wanted to call the album Greatest Hits. Because he was like, he knew it was the best shit he'd ever done.
Okay.
And the label were like, no, that's too confusing. So it got called Golden Greats. But he wanted to call it Greatest Hits just because it was well good.
Right.
But yeah, he owes it all to threatening an air hostess.
I got locked up.
Don't want it. Has Akon's not been locked up? Although he did once bench press a 15-year-old into a crowd. Do you remember that? Do you not remember? So how do you not know about this?
Well, yeah? I don't follow.
I mean, this was a long time ago. But no, there was at the time he wasn't pop. He was doing tracks with Styles P from D Block.
Oh right.
But no, someone got on stage at one of his concerts, so he took his shirt off, picked him up, and launched him into the crowd.
Wow.
And then he started whining on a woman at another concert, and it turned out she was underage and shouldn't have been in the concert. But he got in all sorts of shit.
Jeez.
But yeah, so that's,
But how is R. Kelly not in all sorts of shit?
because he's got more money than any of them.
Right.
There's
So
there's
he
some good
can get
documentaries
away
on
with
him
it.
at the minute
Yeah,
on BBC
yeah.
Three. They're worth a look.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
But,
watching. Is there one on Netflix or something?
Probably. I mean, everyone's on R. Kelly these days. Not like that.
No.
R. Kelly's on everyone these days, but
Yeah.
they're not necessarily volunteering for this.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, his thing's a bit
God.
really fucking crooked.
Yeah.
That's proper strange. But yeah, it's really cult like yeah, on them documentaries, like they ring the family of one of the women round his house, and she's like, "Just leave me alone now, Mum and Dad. It's fine."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Don't think it is fine."
No. But the thing is, like, what really got to me was like all the conversations that I have with like musicians now. It's like everyone has to be so professional, like more. They're always concerned about like getting, you know, even like because of Facebook, like if someone takes a picture of them from like 10 years ago where they were doing some stupid
got some
shit.
gear on the decks or something.
Yeah, or whatever.
Like,
and it's like, you know, if they're trying to make it in music, that shit is just going to count against you straight away. But actually, you would think that things have changed, but in a way, like
I think they're just better covered up.
Yeah.
They're just people are all, like, people now have a PR team to clear up this shit.
Well,
and as well, R. Kelly was like a bit like Jimmy Savile before him. They were in before all that. They were like, they had fingers in pies.
Yeah.
Possibly the wrong term.
Yeah.
But they had fingers in pies long
Underage
before.
pies.
They had fingers in 12-year-old pies long before social media existed.
Yeah. But then also like
Twatted your keyboard.
Watch the synths, mate.
Sorry.
But I think like because there was a mate of mine who was working at a festival doing visuals and stuff, and there's a guy whose name won't be mentioned, but was playing, and it was, I think it was in Iceland, so and they like super on like making sure there's no drugs, and they had sniffer dogs in the back rooms and everything.
In the back, bloody
in the
hell.
back room, like,
that'd be a write-off in this country.
Yeah,
He'd shut down most of festival circuit.
So and the guy was like, I couldn't believe it. Like, it just was so militant. And then for some reason, like because they were live streaming the whole event, and then at one point,
every stage?
No, I think it was possibly just that stage was like run by something, and then they were live streaming it. And when the guy got on the headliner, everyone came out of the back room and they had to shut off the live stream because everyone was just a mess.
Really?
Yeah.
But I can't believe, right, so they cut the stream off. Yeah, I mean, I suppose so. But it's like, but that shit's
headline.
But that's always happened. Like, have you seen The Last Waltz? The Martin Scorsese documentary about the band, Bob Dylan's backing group. It's their last ever show. So like they did, The Last Waltz was like, it's like a legendary rock documentary.
Right.
But it's actually a bit fucking cringe now.
Oh,
like, because like Robbie Robertson.
Spinal Tap.
Oh yeah, a little. It's got elements of that because Robbie Robertson, who's the bassist in the band, is like proper up his own arse, and like a lot of the film is like them talking about life on the road and how they made it when they were. But it's like Scorsese's just obsessed with them and loves them, so there's no.
Oh, so there's no sort of like.
No, there's no
sarcasm.
Yeah,
or
there's
like,
no. It's so earnest, and they're just kissing his ass. And Neil Young came out to play Helpless. Like there was just people all night. It was like a rolling door of like everyone they knew and that. And Neil Young came out to play Helpless, and it's like a terrible rendition. They blatantly don't know Helpless. And Neil Young singing, and they're all slightly off singing the wrong lines. Everyone's caned anyway. And Neil Young, when he came out, he had a massive chunk, a rock of coke hanging out of his nose. God. And so they were filming, they were rolling. And after it was finished, Scorsese was like, "Oh no, that's proper rock, leave it in." And obviously the distributors were like, "No,
we can't
and
do that."
This is like the late '70s. They spent thousands of dollars airbrushing the coke out of his nose for the cinema release. And it's not there on the finished thing.
Oh my god!
But yeah, he had this fucking massive. So even back when it was like everyone was doing it, it still wasn't above board at the thing. But yeah, Sniffer Dogs backstage.
That's the thing. Like now,
next level.
I felt like, you know, speaking to musicians a lot, like the people that I work with, it's like, it's a lot, you know, they have to be a lot more like straight. And there is definitely like the new sort of generation, like, are sort of wise to all of it, and they're not.
Yeah, but they all just do Xanax and look sad instead. It's
maybe
like, just
it's
because
all
you're not
prescription drugs. Yeah,
everyone's so slow they can't be a wreck.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I think everyone should switch drugs.
But no,
Yeah.
but I think like I don't know.
It's probably good in the long run though. Like there's a lot of people dying early or topping themselves. Maybe we should all ease off the drugs whilst working. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the state of like people like the Rolling Stones now. It's like they look like sort of I don't know, rubbery old like
They look like
leather pouches.
They look like mannequins of the Rolling Stones. It's like someone sent out some waxworks.
Madame Tussauds has had like the aircon off for a bit,
But
and
they're
it's
doing
all
quite
gone a bit
well
droopy.
considering what they've been through.
Yeah.
They're probably like, although apparently Keith Richards does like have his blood changed over the course of like 6 months.
Has like
Like
a
he has like
12-year-old.
yeah, but he has apparently he has like 3 litres at a go and then waits a month and then
Oh
has 3
my
more.
God.
So maybe they're not even them anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, that opens an interesting philosophical question of like, at what point of like liver donations and blood changes, at what point are you no longer you? Like if 50% of your body is other people, like you're kind of a pick and mix. Keith Richards is probably a pick and mix.
80% water, so you know.
Yeah, but the other bits sort of don't regenerate. Like they're not interchangeable.
Every time you piss, you're losing.
I mean,
part
yeah.
of yourself.
And it probably gets pumped into Keith Richards in some sort of private Swedish clinic. Like somewhere Keith is receiving all
they're
that.
mixing piss with the blood.
He's got like a pumping station that just kind of siphons most of Britain.
It's just like a floating head. The android body.
Yeah, like in RoboCop 2. When they put that brain in the jar at the end with the eyes.
Yeah.
That's just Keith Richards and they just plug him into a body for shows. Like,
That's it.
Mick says we're going to Sweden. Oh no, they're not. Wait, where was it your mate played? Where they got Poland?
I don't know who.
The one with the sniffer dogs back
Oh, the Iceland.
Yeah, that's probably why they never tour there. They're just like, we're going to
Maybe,
skip
yeah,
Iceland.
yeah, skip
Fuck
that.
Iceland.
Yeah.
Keith won't even get in the gate.
Well, apparently in Iceland they still believe in pixies and gnomes or something, or like.
Yeah, but in this country we
fairies.
still believe in Brexit.
Well, yeah.
So like, leave them alone.
Yeah, we still believe in monarchies.
Let them have their pixies. Pixies are more fun. And,
Yeah.
like nymphs.
Well,
and all that.
we went on a tour when we were there, and like I did one of those sort of tourist things. You all get in a bus and go.
Oh,
round.
yeah.
And it's a bleak country. Like there's no
I've
trees.
I've never been. I'd like to
There's
go.
not a single tree because it's a volcanic
Yeah,
island.
yeah, because it's just ash.
Yeah, and like, but then they when they were building this motorway, they said that there was this rock that they believed.
So they built round it.
Yeah, they
that's
believed pixies lived in it because every time they tried to move it, people would like die, or the tractors that were trying to move it would like sort of break and stuff, and they just couldn't move this rock.
But I've sort of got more
They
time
just
for
built
that.
round it.
Yeah, that's what I've got time for that though, because it's like in this country, if you try and do something, they go, "Oh, well, you can't because planning permission and health and safety."
Yeah.
I'd rather someone go, "No, you can't build there because a goblin lives
'cause
under a
the
bridge."
goblin.
Yeah, because there's a troll in a wagon and he's
Yeah,
pissed, so we're
yeah.
gonna have to build round him.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I think that's a much better way to do it.
Oh, that would throw up a lot of.
I think
problems.
Iceland have got it. I'd like to see the paperwork though. I would
Yeah.
like to see the paperwork
Yeah,
for,
that
the,
would
like,
be
for
good.
that,
Yeah,
for that
yeah,
project.
yeah.
Like, yeah, so we went round
Acts
Troll
of-
Bridge and
Acts of Pixie. Yeah.
so, yeah, that's great. I mean, that's more.
I mean, yeah. It's like-
Imagine if they blame Grenfell on a troll.
Yeah.
Or like a pit. Yeah, there's a pixie
yeah,
there
yeah,
just
yeah.
fighting around with a cooker, and all the poor people burn. No,
Yeah.
who knew?
That's the thing. See, that's when it could work the wrong way. You know, then.
What are you saying? Are you saying pixies might get unfairly blamed?
Yeah.
For health and safety.
They would be used as scapegoats.
Yeah.
For. I mean, at the moment.
Which doesn't
they're just-
happen in this country at all. No one's ever
the man-
scapegoated in this
no,
country.
at the moment it's just firemen.
Yeah,
It's
just-
like, oh yeah, it's the fireman's fault for not saving the people quick enough. Hang on, what?
But what if the firemen were like what if they were en route, but there was a big rock in the road that they couldn't move and the van broke
Well,
down?
there was. They said there was like bollards, and they couldn't get.
Were they
them.
put there by pixies?
Well, no, they were put there by the council. But
Oh,
they were all,
yeah,
the
yeah.
cladding was also
Put there by the council, yeah.
So, but then they're questioning the firemen. Why aren't they questioning the council?
Or the bollards? What are the
Well-
bollards saying about all this shit?
Well, yeah, they
they've
should've-
remained suspiciously quiet throughout the whole inquiry, haven't they?
Yeah.
Jesus, we're like 10 minutes in and we've already got on a Grenfell.
shouldn't
not
be
la-
laughing
we're- yeah,
about.
we're
We're not
not la-
laughing about Grenfell.
We're actually
are
laughing about pixies and
laughing
admin.
about how ridiculous we are. We need to change. We've covered drugs
We've covered drugs and Grenfell.
and Grenfell
and paedophilia.
and paedophilia.
I mean, we've gone in early. I feel
Yeah.
like we've really come in swinging.
Yeah.
And like, this is like one of those mixers where you go in with your bangers in the
Yeah,
first
yeah,
10
yeah.
minutes. You're like, shit, I need to.
Well, like
I need to-
every mix ever, like
yeah, I've
just like, yeah, it's me. Oh no.
I've thrown all the kitchen sink in. We need to bring it down for 10 minutes now whilst people regroup.
Yeah. And with the there was a thought of doing a bootleg of Is Coming Home.
Oh yeah, the It's Coming Home bootleg. I mean, it could still happen. We
I
could.
just think it'd just be really difficult. And I'm
sounds like-
several beers in.
It sounds
and I
like you haven't
can't
got the
really be
passion for it,
bothered.
if I'm honest.
Yeah.
But
And also, like, we're recording into Logic, and then how do I then keep that recording?
I don't
And
know,
then-
mate. This is literally your job, not mine. I don't know what you're asking me. I haven't got a fucking clue what you're on about.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it's been coming home so much that Quest hasn't even turned up.
Well, yeah,
So
he's
we're
busy,
we're down a pair of hands
he's
that could have been
busy
useful.
bringing it home from the pub.
He's not. He's probably not bringing anything home. is he?
No, that's true.
Bless him. But yeah. So before it was coming home, what did you even do before football? What did anyone do with their weekends before football? Seems to just be all anyone does now.
Spear, saber-toothed tigers.
What?
I mean, how long has football been going? It's been a long time.
I don't know. I've never watched it. I only watched it one today because I was on the way here. Thought I'd have to talk about
So I
it.
forced you to sit
Yeah,
down.
more or
and
less.
watch it.
Well,
It's
no,
like,
it was
shut up.
anywhere that serves drinks. I'll just watch what they've got on.
Fair enough.
So you know,
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go out on a limb here. Have you been watching Love Island, mate?
No, hell
see,
no. What
right,
the fuck?
we
What's
need to have
wrong
it-
with you?
It's what do you mean?
What do you mean?
What are you
do mean?
talking about?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
What do you mean? What do you mean? I sat and watched last week's episode. I'd been filming at a festival.
Because you felt like your brain wasn't dead enough.
Well,
and
I'd
you
done
had
loads
to,
of
like-
mushrooms, and I thought Love Island's probably the way to take this. And I can't lie, I had the fucking best night.
Man, that would spin me out.
Best
I'd
night of the
just-
festival.
I'd just hate it.
It was my one night off. I thought I'm going to go home and watch Love Island on a bunch
Oh
of
my
mushrooms.
god.
It was bloody fantastic.
Awful.
I mean, yeah, totally, but fantastic stuff.
Why fantastic?
I would like, you know when you drive past a car crash and you're like, I might just pull in and see if I can see someone's face stuck in a dashboard.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
it
just
is
that,
just
like-
one long car crash. Is
Yeah,
what
but
it
it's
is.
it's fucking brilliant because it's not your car
just-
crash; it's someone else's.
Yeah, but it isn't in a way because I feel that it all reflects on society and humanity as a whole.
Yeah,
And
but I think that's the
how
other thing.
I just can't stand myself to bring like.
But I think that's what it is for me. It emboldens me as a cynic. Because anything I say where people go, oh, you're so cynical, Matt, you're always seeing the negatives. I just put Love Island and go, look, I'm fucking right.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
but
and
that's the
why
thing, and
that's why I love it. Because it just proves me right. I'm
I
just
know,
there
but
going,
I don't
all
want to
this-
be proven right.
Yeah, but that's because you're an optimist, Dom, and you'll never make it.
No, it's because I'm a reformed cynic. Or at least
Yeah,
I'm
reformed-
trying to be reformed.
You're in the wrong podcast,
No,
son.
oh man, like, yeah. No, I'm fully cynical, but as a result, I don't need things to remind me of why I'm so cynical.
No, I don't need to be reminded of why I'm cynical. I just need to remind other people of why I'm right. It's a totally different
Yeah,
thing.
there's that,
It's a
yeah.
petty ego thing. It's nothing
Yeah.
nothing to
But
do
then
with
it's kind of that thing of like, you know, like the Daily Mail sort of attention-grabbing headlines, and then like,
well, like ban this sick filth now.
well,
type.
yeah, but then also you get the lefties sharing it because
It's
they're
outrageous.
outraged.
Yeah. No,
And then you
that's
get
always the.
But this is the thing, is like, you know, if you watch it, you're adding to their viewing figures.
Yeah.
And there's people that watch it who genuinely don't get why it's terrible.
I mean, yeah. But then I just sort of quietly hope those people die in incidents like Grenfell. So, might have to edit that bit.
Let's get rid of that.
Yeah,
Let's
that might
cut.
that might have to go. But
Right.
yeah, no, I mean, yeah, but you can't make an omelette without breaking a few eggs. I think the thing is though.
You're just quoting phrases.
Yeah,
now.
I'm just fucking throwing. But it's like catchphrase. I'm just there with Roy Walker chucking any old shit into the atmos. I think the problem is though, really, and this is as a self-harmer. This is how I know what I'm doing.
You know what? I know what I'm.
I go home and I watch Love Island. I go, yeah, but it's funny because blah blah blah. Blah, blah, blah. And then later I get really angry that these people earn a better living than me.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, oh wait, no, it is my fault though. And I keep it rolling.
But that's that. I mean, that is a kind of self-harm.
Totally, no, it's probably why I do it. But I still just enjoy it more than football. Like,
I mean, football is quite sort of self-harm in a way.
I mean, yeah, it's just loads of racists and rapists.
But then also
running
you've
about.
got, a strong chance of losing.
Yeah, but you haven't got any chance
then
of winning with Love Island.
If you win... yeah, no, exactly. But then if your team wins, it's... You haven't actually done anything except watch it. And so you can't really be happy with...
But that's
happy about it.
That's kind of why I don't get it.
Yeah, but then if they lose, then you're miserable.
Yeah.
Because they've...
But so how is that better than Love Island? And as well, actually no,
it's a fair point.
I was about to say most of the Love Island cast don't go and rape someone in a hotel room when they're drunk later, but a lot of them do. There's a lot of that on both sides of the equation.
Allegedly, you have to say this.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't named anyone specific yet.
No,
so I think
obviously the whole of football sues you.
We've got the football as a concept comes for me.
Yeah.
Although it's alright because we've got the luxury of we can edit this later.
Okay.
Fine. We can go as far out as we need to and then bleep things or whatever. I say we. I'm going to get you to do all this.
No.
I don't have the technical skills to edit this audio.
I'm going to send it to you and you can do it. I don't have time to go back through our ramblings.
No one does. I don't, and I've barely got a job. Still haven't got time for this shit.
So this will be one of those unreleased specials. Unreleased special.
We've got more unreleased specials than we have released normals. It's all right. It's fine though.
It's fine.
I'm all right with it.
I've got a gluten-free beer, and you've got a...
It doesn't work as well without the ice in.
No, should I go and get another ice ball? I'll get a couple of ice balls. Well, we've got to be careful not to create another horrendous mess like we did last time.
Yeah, no, try not to drop the 2 kilo ice ball into the drink from 50 feet up.
Well, I've got a tissue. And maybe just pop that under the glass.
Oh, I see. Right, I didn't know if you were going to try and make some sort of parachute for it, for a massive height, like we can drop it out the back of a plane with a tissue-based parachute attached.
Oh God, it's dribbling down my leg.
I mean, this is some of the most exciting podcast audio we've ever had.
It's cold.
These really aren't that practical.
Oh, there we go.
Right, this is what we learned. If you tip it and roll it in.
And then roll it.
Right.
It's still not worked at all. It's not worked. Got it all over my fingers. Right. I might stick another one in mine.
Oh, that looks quite sci-fi though, is it? As it melts in there.
Sphere.
It's the sort of thing I'd try and spend 6 months animating and then give up. This guy's fucking bollocks.
Just film it, mate. Just film the real thing.
That's what I'm going to have to do. It's like we were saying about getting back to analogue ways.
That's it. These are... Because I've got other ones at home that cost a lot more, but they're not as good. These are actually pretty good.
You say that, you've not managed to deploy one without spilling 3 pints of bourbon yet. So I don't know how bad the other ones function.
Oh, God. Oh, no.
Come on, then. That was worse.
I thought it was better, and then it went on my leg.
Literally went terribly. Have you got to change your clothes for this evening?
I've got different t-shirts.
Do you have a show outfit? Do you have like show outfits for when you play?
Hell. Look at the state of me.
Obviously, you turn up like you just got sloshed at the football and been sick down yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, it was all other people like throwing drinks.
It was coming home, mate. It weren't your fault.
Yeah, exactly.
So do you have show outfits? Do you have have you got like a special hat and a special?
No. I mean, I brought a spare t-shirt because I figured I'd be getting pretty sweaty today in the sun.
Mate, I nearly died on the train up here.
Man, it's
been horrendous.
But there's a friend of mine who was singing with our band for a while, and he only ever wears white t-shirts.
What, like a rapper?
No, it's a singer.
Yeah, but like a rapper, because they always wear the white tees. That's like the thing. You wear a white tee, but you leave the tag on to prove you can buy a new one every day. And you just throw them away after one wear, tag's still on them, but you wear white tees with the tags on.
Why with the tag on? Why?
Because that proves it's new. Or you shoplifted it.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't prove anything.
No, but that's not the point.
It proves that you keep it with the tag. That you haven't washed it.
Have you heard the term popping tags?
No.
Do you listen to any hip-hop?
I'm so out of the loop.
Mate, well, anyway.
I'm literally like the whitest person you have ever met.
Well,
Like-
you don't have to be any particular race to listen to hip hop, Dom. Hip hop's for the people.
No, I know, but I'm like the squarest square.
No, yeah, so like the term popping tags was like you'd get a new tee, pop the tag, as in pull the tag off because it's brand new, so you remove the tag, wear it once, then bin it, and just pop a tag every day. New tee. Just want and waste. It's proper capitalism. Like P. Diddy wearing 100 quid t-shirts and then just binning them a day later every day because he's rich. And it's like, well, that's, no.
That doesn't make any sense.
No, but what in hip hop really does? Let's be
I
honest.
suppose,
Like
yeah.
you know, most of it
Is
most
that
of it
why
revolves
people
around.
would? Because I never understood why people would keep the tags on their new era hats.
Yeah, same shit. Same. That's
But the
all
thing
off
is,
the
they're
back of
just.
that.
But no one washes hat. Well, you dry
But-
clean a hat.
I think as well at new eras because they were bootlegs so much.
So they
leaving the
keep
tag
the
on
tag
proved
on
it was
to
a
prove
legit
it was
new
a
era.
legit-
But then they're only
But
like
they're
30 quid each anyway, so who gives a
It's-
fuck? Like,
what? It's
I
not
don't
like
know.
you. Oh my god.
Yeah, but you know,
it's
I mean,
weird.
we're looking for logic in the world of hip hop, where the main thing you do as a rapper, as a gangster rapper anyway, is to go on record and admit to committing crimes. So,
yeah.
as a conceptually, it's not really the ideal way to do stuff. Like 50 Cent
mean-
just defended himself in court by basically saying everything I said was a lie.
What, everything on
Well, when he went
record?
bankrupt, he
Right.
filed for bankruptcy in this, I think they call it Chapter 11 bankruptcy, which is
Right.
like your business is knackered, but you're all right. And then
Did he actually go
well,
bankrupt?
he filed for it, and then when they were like, "Well, what's all this money in your videos?" He's like, "Fake money." Had to pretend I had money for my records.
Yeah,
So
'cause
it's now
that's
like,
what
well,
people want.
yeah. So it's now like, well, is he rich? Isn't he? And he probably is. He's probably just lying for his teeth. Don't know. It's capitalism gone mad, dumb.
Yeah.
He's just
Get
gone off the
rich or
deep end.
try lying.
Yeah, or just all of that. He does the lot. He does the lot.
Yeah.
Die lying. He'll do that too.
Yeah.
No, probably. But yeah, that's what rap is, mate. That's the.
I don't understand.
So you don't have a show outfit.
No, and I
you
don't
don't wear
sell
white
drugs
t-shirts
either.
every
I
day.
don't have any sort of like nothing that they can pin on me in court later
That's,
at a later date, which
that's
is
why.
good.
And that's why you can't buy a new white T-shirt every day.
No,
and
exactly.
That's why you
I'd
can't pop tags with the best of them.
Stick to my. I've got several Keith Haring t-shirts from Uniqlo.
Right? Are they like Key?
I just quite like them.
Uniqlo's the Japanese.
Uniqlo, yeah, it's
high, quite high.
But they've
quality.
done a lot of like collabs with like Museum of Modern Art and like.
Oh yeah, which is that's
they've
now
done,
the
like-
edgy cool thing to do
done,
as a
like,
brand.
thing with like Snoopy or like Peanuts. They've got like
Yeah.
Snoopy ones.
Yeah, that's the
and
new thing,
Lego.
isn't it? If your
It's
sales are struggling, just nostalgia.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
go and do a thing with He-Man, or do a thing with MTV, or just
Oh god!
'Cause those
and everyone
brands-
is doing Star Wars.
yes,
of course.
well, yeah. Well, that's because Disney own it now.
Yeah.
Lucasfilm flogged it off, and Disney were like,
And just like, who wants to collab?
mate, they did
Yeah,
a collab with Matalan, which I respect. I got time
Wow.
for that. That's like,
yeah. Right.
that's brilliant. That's literally like,
mean,
I respect the
there's
level.
There's no. What,
But that's like-
the lowest
But that,
level.
well, yeah,
you
but that's
can
like
go
that's
to.
like the like if you know
So
Star
doing a
Wars is the
collab
peak
with
of.
Primark.
It's like yeah, but that's like ABBA doing a collab with the S Club Juniors. It's like we can do what we fucking want, and we've picked you,
Yeah.
kids. Like I almost respect the drop. Like they've
Right,
gone like
right,
we can
yeah.
go anywhere, and we're going down here. Like,
all the way.
yeah, it's like you know you
yeah,
thought
yeah.
thought Motorhead got low doing a
Yeah.
Matalan t-shirt. Here comes Star Wars, kids. Have some Stormtrooper slippers. You can't. I like it. There's almost like a middle finger to everything ever.
Yeah.
There's a nihilism to it.
Kind of like it's like the Muppets. It's like Jim Henson would be spinning in his grave. Yeah, I had to do it.
What are the Muppets doing now?
Everything.
Yeah, but I
Those
mean,
Muppets are on everything.
I've,
I mean,
yeah, but I
they've just
don't
done-
own a TV, so I don't
So,
really know what's happening. I
the-
just watch Love
there's
Island on
recently-
catch up.
There's recently an advert that I've just done for the music for, which was this is hot new exclusive.
So we're punching some sound effects.
Yeah,
I say
so-
we. You can punch in some sound
Yeah,
effects there.
Like I do a lot of sort of pitching for adverts and things, and one of them was this advert, and they've got, of course, the Muppets
Right.
on their advert doing stuff. Miss Piggy served various bits of food.
That's lazy writing, isn't it?
Really like weird. And then they really wanted Drop It Like It's Hot. The
Snoop Dogg tune.
Snoop Dogg tune.
Right. Neptune's beat.
But of course didn't want to pay for it, but they thought
So they wanted you to remake
they
it.
reached out to to get a bespoke thing. I don't know how much of this we can actually say because I don't know how much is like. I mean, I haven't signed any NDAs or anything.
In that case, we can do what we fucking want.
It will just be a detriment to my career, and that's fine.
I mean, to be honest, agreeing to this was the biggest hit your career could ever take. So
yeah, exactly.
From here on out, it's only uphill, mate. I won't worry.
Exactly. So ended up doing like a version of it with horns as sort of doing like
horns in
basically the day that the brief came in, because of course all these briefs come in and they say we want it yesterday.
Can we have it already?
So and I was in with Bobby from Submo doing a horn session, and he was like, cool, I'll just have a blow on it and we'll see. And then
that's a great just for anything. Can you do it? Yeah, I'll have a blow on it.
It'll
be alright. Yeah, a blow on it. It'll be alright.
And and it was a
bit like a SNES cartridge.
I really liked it. To be fair, I thought it really suited the advert. And then they said, "Yeah, we really like it, but we don't like the horns."
Nice.
So, having got rid of the horns,
they didn't like it.
There was basically just a complete copy of Snoop Dogg. And then the publisher were the horns doing
the dun 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 dun?
No, we did like a completely different chord sequence with the horns.
Right.
But
so
like,
all
of
totally
the beat was a complete rip-off of that. But with the horns, made it slightly
the melody of that knocked it off enough that you wouldn't like.
Yeah, exactly. But
so
then
where
when
does
you
the
get
legality
rid of that,
sit on a drum? Like, because drum beats are like, especially when you're working in 4/4.
And you have to,
there's only so much you can move shit around. Like, where do the lines draw on ripping people off with that?
Drum beats are really hard, and I think, to be honest, like, no one, if you write a drum beat, it's not the same as writing
a melody,
chord sequence and melody. Even if you write a melody nowadays, if it's to a different chord sequence, it's not the same. Or if you write the same chords but it's a different melody, it's not the same.
Right. Because
you're so limited in the pop world, and there's been so many tunes made
that have just been
just like 4-5-1 chord sequence or whatever it is. Within that, there's some scope for other melodies, but generally the best melodies have already been taken.
Right.
So you're kind of
if you're not legally allowed to rip them off, pop would grind to a...
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it should grind to a halt.
It probably should,
Maybe we should watch it burn.
I mean, I was working on a tune with a singer the other day, and I got home having sort of finished the song, and...
You realised you just remade a Pitbull tune.
Well, no, I realised it was the theme tune to Poddington Peas. Do you remember the Poddington Peas?
Down at the bottom of the garden. So how does the tune go? Down at the bottom of the nightclub.
No, but it's not quite the same. But
it basically... Do you know what,
actually? The melody really
I found one of these the other day. This is... I'm not even... You actually have some musical knowledge, so maybe you'll be able to confirm or deny this. But I was right. So I've been... if necessary, we can like put these in so they don't sound shit. But I've been working my way through Korn's back catalogue for like a couple of weeks, right?
Well, they invented dubstep, right?
They did. Yes. They were 140 before 140. But I've always quite liked Korn. I got a bit of time for them. But so I was listening to this tune, right, and I was like, I remember the album when it came out, and I didn't think it's one of their weaker ones. Right. I'm not a Korn expert, but But I was listening to it, and I was like, I know this. It was slower, but I was like, I'm sure I know this melody, right? So listen to this. Hang on. Listen to the vocal. Right, and then I was like, I know that. What am I thinking of?
And it's a pop tune, isn't it?
Mate,
what is it?
When I play it, you'll be like, for fuck's sake. But it really is. It's going to take me ages to find it now, which is going to spoil the impact.
We can cut this bit.
Yeah, we'll get rid of this. But then I was like...
I recognise it. It's so obvious. Oh shit, it's that! Yeah,
mate, just wait. It's just that, but slower. It's totally there, isn't it? Korn have totally ripped off I'm Horny 98 radio edit.
Did that come up? That came out before?
No, Korn was after this.
No way.
Yeah, this was the Korn album's like 2005. This is 1998. Korn have totally been listening to Moose T versus Hot and Juicy. But then I was like, having thought about that and then thought about the dubstep album, I was like, 98 Garage, dubstep. Korn have been on this from the start. Maybe they did invent dubstep.
Maybe.
Because they were doing new metal garage, Hot and Juicy versus Moose T tunes.
Yeah.
Like, and that album did come out before dubstep.
Yeah.
So perhaps we don't give them enough credit in the in the dubstep world. But that was my big find of the week. I'm
pretty sure that they're not even if they had started a tune at 140 before dubstep, I'm pretty sure they weren't the first.
Yeah, but they might have written the melody for that Moose T versus Hot and Juicy. You don't know that they didn't even write that behind the scenes. He's good on the melodies. There's old Jonathan Davis, so maybe.
Should we look it up on Discogs?
I mean, yeah. I mean, we might have just got someone sued, but let's research that. Maybe that was the original. See, that's what I mean.
Yeah, it all ties together.
So who wrote the Poddington Peas before you did?
I don't know.
Well, just say you did it then. Just do what Korn did. Just write and be like, I wrote Poddington Peas before.
Some guy who wrote it.
Yeah, it's all right. He's probably dead.
It's not it's not an exact rip-off.
Is it going to come out? Will we be able to hear this later?
Because this is the bad thing. Because also, there's been so many court cases of
Thingy got done. Pharrell Williams got done. Ed Sheeran got done. Pharrell got done for ripping off Marvin Gaye.
But then the thing is, I came home having sat through that whole session and
not thought
about it, and then got back home and realised, oh my god, it's that tune.
Yeah, but
because I'm singing it in my head,
and when you're there,
hold on, that's exactly Poddington Peas. But
the Boddington Peas, is that some sort of shit ale family at the bottom of the garden, just wankered on a sofa bed, with the Boddington Peas. Whatever, mate. Yeah,
the Boddington Bees.
Yeah, got a TV hooked up to a car battery. Just washing in a bath full of rainwater. That sounds like a much better show. Let's do that.
Yeah.
You can do the music. I'll do the animation.
Version. Yeah.
Boddington
Peas.
Peas.
Use this song that we wrote.
Maybe Purple City needs to move into animation. We should do the Boddington Peas for Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get you on it. You can do the audio. I'll do the animating stuff.
Okay.
The animating stuff.
Because
I've got a degree in this shit, mate.
Really using the technical terms.
Don't you worry about that.
Yeah. So I mean that's the thing. So my thought was how conscious is it?
Well, yeah, but it's the same with all that stuff. Because once you've been working on it, it's like when you work on something all day, go to bed, and then come back and look at it, and you're like, "What the fuck was I doing yesterday?" And you look at it and you're like, this is awful. I'm doing an illustration for the new...
off the booze, mate.
I mean, I was pissed. I've been illustrating the new release on Jay Kenzo's label Article for the last couple of days. And I got home from work the other night. I'd been in the pub for a few hours after work, went home and was get cracking on. And I looked at it yesterday morning and I was like, fucking hell, this is terrible. And I wasn't that drunk. I was a bit tipsy, but I wasn't pissed enough that I can't remember it. But I look back and I was like, this is so fucking sloppy. And I was like, it can happen,
Yeah, totally. I mean, I listen back to some of the shit that I come out with and it's like...
What, you mean just opinions or
no, yeah, just anything.
Just everything.
Yeah.
It's all bollocks.
Yeah.
Are there any of your tunes that you can't... Do you listen to any of your stuff once it's out? Do you listen back? Can you go back to it and be like,
some bits have stood the test of time.
What are the bits that you think have worked?
I mean, I don't listen to any Submo.
Right.
As soon as it's finished, I'm so sick of it by the time it's finished.
So with them,
to it.
What do you do? What's your... Because do you produce as in do the actual mixing of the albums and the...
So I record... It's a bit... sort of here, there, and everywhere. Yeah. Depending on which album
you're the Swiss Army man.
Well, because
you do what needs to be done.
Some exactly. Some albums, the Colour Theory, we didn't have the budget to record, so I got.
That was the second one, wasn't it?
No, that was the fourth one.
With the it's got the colour pattern in the geometrics on the front.
So
that's kind of housey, isn't it?
Well, it's kind of more electronic.
Yeah, but it's more soul-y and it's not as...
Yeah, so I mean that's for a lot of different reasons. I'm not sure how many things I can talk about on the podcast, but
so we can bleep all this.
Basically, with Colour Theory, the thing was that we didn't have the budget to record as a band,
right?
So we couldn't go and hire a studio somewhere. And also, like, that was the time when Ruby was pregnant and a load of people had other projects on.
Right.
And so it was really difficult to put anything together.
Were you like the assembly man, like doing bits
So,
in isolation?
so basically I would get people to... I had writing sessions with Tommy. Tommy also had writing sessions with various other people. We sort of collabed a lot with other artists to get some more ideas in. We wrote we got people to record their own parts and send them through, so then a lot of it was sort of remixing what people had done. So yeah, it was a completely different like approach, and it was very produced. But then when we found from that, like, even though I was more happy with that than I was with
because you could
anything
fiddle
else,
with every element to the
I was
nth degree.
just going for it. But then when we came to like play it, it was all just pressing buttons.
Right,
because
so
it was completely
it was just
remixed.
building sounds up.
Yeah.
So did you find that one? Did you feel that one had less soul, as it were, than the ones where you were all together, or less spontaneity? Was it more? Did it feel? Do you like
no,
the end
I mean
product, do you
they
think that
all
was
feel
fine?
they all feel like long processes. you feel pretty shattered after any of them. No, I feel like it was a completely different angle, and also like we were trying to please the label with what we were doing.
What label was that one?
That was with Ninja.
That was on Ninja, right?
And it was the Ninja A&R, and I get the feeling
that was that like 2013, somewhere around there, 2012, 2013.
No, it was more recent.
Oh, was it?
It was 2015.
Oh, man,
16,
my life
like
feels horribly long.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I mean, that was so
Feels like
because
1,000 years ago.
we've just done the 5th, so yeah, it was the one before, so it would have been like 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Maybe
it wasn't that long.
But then
the new one's got a bit more. It's gone a bit steppy again.
Well, the most recent one, we obviously weren't signed with Ninja anymore. We didn't have any label. It was all self-released. We didn't have an A&R saying what it should be or shouldn't be.
So you did whatever.
So we played to our strengths with it, to an extent. We all went to Cornwall to record as a band.
Oh no, see that's the only reason I'd ever get into a band.
Yeah.
Just to go hide in a place for 2 weeks with all my mates and do something.
Well, we didn't do 2 weeks because
you know what I mean,
couldn't afford that. But
but doing what you wanted to do and just doing it, and that's much better.
But then that said, we still had to have stuff written to then record.
Yeah, you can't turn up with no band.
And the sort of writing process for that was quite weird, because it was like, so Tommy basically MD'd it all. And he got us all to take photos, which he would then write lyrics about the photos.
Right.
And then got Ruby in to freestyle melodies over a drone.
Right.
According to those lyrics. Then he would chop them up.
To the melody? Or
So she would create some melodic patterns. He would chop them up and use the best bits. And then, or whatever he thought were the best bits, and then send them off to Taz to then write some chords to, because Taz is the keyboard player. So everyone would play their part, but then as a result, I hadn't heard any of them until we get to record them.
Awesome.
So I kind of felt like I'd been a bit sort of cut out of the process in a way, because I'm so used to being involved from stage one,
right.
And when the band started, it was there were like covers of my songs, and I was very involved in the writing process. So then to be like, to speaking to the manager, he's like, and then the manager was cut out as well, because he was another thing that was like, we don't want him interfering.
Right.
We don't want any interference, and everyone just gets to do exactly what they want to do.
Yeah.
And then...
So at your point, were you allowed to do what you wanted with the stuff they gave you?
So then once it was recorded, and they were happy, and obviously I could have some say during rehearsals and during the recording, then it was down to me to make the best of what they had
make
done.
A quiche.
Yeah, out of their
So
ingredients.
did that change how you work, though? Because that's obviously not at all what you'd normally do, I assume.
Well,
do you think it got a different result to what?
I thought it would be a lot more straightforward, because I thought, well, they want a lot more of a recorded sound. They don't want it super processed. So, because the album before, I was basically doing everything.
Yeah.
Like, you know, processing, not everything, but like doing a lot
Every
of
sound
the work.
was being
yeah,
cleaned
was
and
being
being
created.
something, yeah.
This one, I felt like it was just a case of getting really good quality recordings and then mixing it properly, and that would be it.
Yeah. Turned out that
But
was
then,
bullshit.
of course, of course, when you send that, and then they're like, yeah, it needs more stuff, and then you've got to do more things, you know. And then the manager finally heard it after it had been signed off by everyone in the band. They're all really happy with it. I've done a load of work on it. It's just like, yeah, it doesn't sound very produced.
But does the manager get much of a say at that level? Like,
well, it depends.
I mean, no, but
in
this group, can he then go, "Now we're not releasing this," and everyone goes, "Oh, fine."
No, I think
because Submotion's a bit of a mob. There's enough of you could just overpower. Them. Leave them in the woods.
But also
roll them up in a carpet and throw them in a lake.
I mean, there's contracts involved, but
however, I'm not a music
But
industry
he's a
guy.
very amenable guy, and he knows. You know, he's been through 5 albums with us.
Right. I was just the same manager for the whole.
Yeah, it's been the same manager
right.
all the way through from the start, and he knows what he's dealing with, and he knows that it's a difficult project.
Right.
Because we're all having trouble with it. Like, no one knows what it is.
Right.
You know, it's not like, you know, there's arguments on YouTube about, you know...
There's always arguments on YouTube.
Yeah, no, I know, but like, of our tunes, it's like, oh, this is great dubstep, and then there's another person like, this isn't dubstep,
it's future garage. Actually, it's future garage chill wave.
Yeah, like, or it's live soul bass. And you're just like, well, it doesn't
Shut up,
matter.
just pay for it. I don't care what you think it is, just pay for the fucking thing.
Exactly. It's like there's inspiration from, because we've all come from different places as well. There's so many different angles
I think
routes
that's why
that we
it
go
survived
down.
as well, because there's other things that
obviously
moved
if we'd
on
like,
waves and just
we'd
sunk.
cynically sort of gone, we're gonna do live dubstep.
Yeah.
Then you know
And
you
that
end
shit
up.
sounds
Yeah,
shit.
you.
It's like when so many electronic groups go live.
Yeah. Well,
When you've got
mentioning no names.
I mean, let's drop some names. Come on,
No.
just one.
No.
It's alright, we can bleep it out. I want to know.
Everyone knows.
No, just do one.
What do you mean?
We can bleep it out. It's fine.
What?
Or just name something that you know.
What?
Oh, okay. Oh, that's not a proper one.
I mean, exactly, but that was like, oh, we're going to take dubstep
They were doing it for the money. They were shameless about that too, and I've got time for that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like they never tried to play it as a quality thing. They were just like, let's go have a little rinse.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I feel like that would just be what it would be if you were just like, oh, we're going to do this genre live.
Yeah, I just think it's like when you hear like even like Massive Attack, their live band thing. It's like all of the weird, interesting drums they have.
Yeah.
Get turned into a drummer who can't do any of that,
can't do it.
or he's just triggering sound, so it might as well not be live.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't see I feel.
Yeah, but
I'm not
people want to see people doing things.
I know, but just give up.
Because that's what they used to.
I think, but
it's like the American thing of EDM. If like DJs, they want to see a live show, but they can't have a live show because DJs emerged from like dark warehouses.
Yeah.
So
and you only
turned it into like
using
fireworks and like light shows and visuals.
Not trying to be contrary, but I don't really rate Steve Aoki's cake throwing. But like, if you had the budget to just blow up half of your stage mid-set, would you not just blow up half of your stage mid-set? Because that's fucking funny.
I'd keep the budget.
That's not on. You got enough for both. You can buy your house and blow your stage up.
Buy another house. Then.
No, you've got 2 houses. Look, you're being obtuse. Point is it not just really fun to blow shit up? Like. You know, like I went and saw AC/DC at Wembley, and I don't even like AC/DC. I think they're rubbish. Right, I think they're really fucking boring, and they've got 2 good tunes, and every other track is filler.
Yeah.
They're like even on a greatest hits, they've only got 10 out of 20 greatest hits, and the rest are just chugging 6 out of 10. I call it Weatherspoons rock.
Right.
It's not good, it's not bad. It's 6 out of 10. You know what you're going to get. You won't be disappointed, but you won't be impressed.
Right, okay.
It's just like a spoon's beer and a burger.
Oh, yeah.
So in directors, Ron Howard is the Weatherspoons beer and burger of directors.
Right.
And AC/DC are the Weatherspoons beer and burger of music. But we went and saw them, and they had like a whole train that came on stage and crashed and fell over, and they all jumped out of a flaming train, and there was a big inflatable prostitute when they played Whole Lotta Rosie. And I was there, smashed out of my face, like, I don't even care about your music, but that train's on fire, there's an inflatable prostitute, fine.
How do you know it was a prostitute?
Because the Whole Lotta Rosie's about like a hooker.
Oh,
so
right,
it was like,
okay.
and she was in like fishnets and stuff.
Was it flailing arms?
Yeah, no, it was like a Jim Henson's Creature Shop, like flailing around. It was fucking brilliant. And I was like, this is like, I'm enjoying this more than bands I like. Because they know that their songs aren't strong enough to back up.
So it was just like Spinal Tap, basically.
Yeah, but I admire that they weren't trying to cover that with anything
Right.
else. They were just like, no, let's just do that shit. And
Yeah,
like, I went
I
and saw,
guess if you've got the budget for it.
I went and saw Rammstein, same thing. Like they came out, there was like a wall of coal, and they like chiseled out of it with pickaxes and came out all greased up, covered in coal dust. And then they put the keyboard player in this big pot and cooked him live. And then like someone went out across the fucking crowd in an inflatable dinghy, and there was all these babies with lasers coming out their eyes, hanging from the roof on chains. And I was like, I don't even care if I don't know what you're saying.
I've got a long way to go until we get to that stage.
But would you do it if you could? Is my question.
I
can't. Surely you want to like blow up some stuff.
I would
and have a
feel
dinghy.
like
I don't know if it'd suit the music.
After so many years of playing the same songs, if someone suddenly gave us a load of budget to make
just
a
do
big
stuff.
show, then we would do stupid shit like that. Probably.
Yeah, totally. So what you're saying
So
is...
you probably would. Because what else are you going to do? Like,
well, that's it.
You can't make the songs any better.
You've reached the zenith.
They're just what they are.
I mean, maybe not in the case of your band, but AC/DC could probably make this. They could spend a bit of that money making their songs better if they wanted.
Well, you just write better songs.
Yeah,
but like,
I mean...
But that's the thing. Like, when people want to hear certain songs, you have to play those songs as they are.
You can play them with fireworks and shit.
Yeah, but then I don't know. I enjoyed the sort of dark, like squat rave culture of DJing in a dark room,
right,
with the lights off. I really like my first proper rave was at Bagley's.
Bagley's,
and I remember like I
Fucking
walked
love
in,
a
and
Bagley's.
as I walked in, they were playing Shadowboxing, the Doc Scott track, which is pretty dark.
As you know, my
broody.
drum and bass
it's in
knowledge
there
is
somewhere, but
it's
it's
in the
just
ranks.
a sort of droning.
See, that's
It's so like depressing and dark.
That's basically why I started taking drugs at raves.
Yeah, but
because
like,
I went, this is shit. I'm gonna have to
no,
distract
but it
myself.
was like it was scary. It was like that sort of like fear, not like genuine fear, but it's
no,
like
I know,
that
the
kind of,
mood,
like,
that atmosphere,
it's
and
why
that
people
aesthetic.
always write dance music in minor keys, because if you write a dance music in a major key, it's a joke, because the minor key gives it that like intensity and that.
So what you're saying is we've got to do the It's Coming Home bootleg in a minor key.
Yeah.
Otherwise no one's going to take it seriously.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Because there is that real risk that people won't take it seriously.
Drum and bass is an odd one for me because I obviously totally missed it the first time anyway. But then I've never got into it. And obviously I used to work for Drum and Bass Arena, and everyone there was like proper drum and bass heads, not even like mainstream. Like the stuff they released was not necessarily the stuff they all listened to.
Yeah.
But there's people that be like, "Oh mate, if you like dubstep, you'll love this tune." And I was like, I just don't. I wasn't. It doesn't communicate with me at all. It just doesn't.
What about Calibre?
Yeah, I find it.
Anything like that?
I find it quite repetitive.
Right.
Like, and I do find, I know Calibre, it's funny because I know Calibre's got a very specific style.
Yeah.
Which, my head's going, this is really good and you should really enjoy this. But I'm just going, "Buh."
It's a bit loopy and repeaty.
Yeah, but then I listen to Burial, which is similar in that it's a very specific style and it doesn't deviate too far from... But my head doesn't go, this is very loopy and repeaty. My head's going, this is amazing, I might have a little cry on the bus.
But what about, like, Aphex?
Yeah, again, I sort of...
Square Pusher?
Square Pusher I really can't get with. Aphex Twin I like more because there's more melody to it.
Right.
Square Pusher's like, well done, you found every button and pressed them at once. And I mean, he might have pressed them very well, but the thing is, because I'm technically no skill, I can't appreciate anything for the way it's made.
But My Red Hot Car is like a very melodic song.
Yeah, but that's probably one of the ones
with
I
a
rate.
lot of I know what you mean.
But
yeah,
I find Aphex, like my favourite Aphex Twin stuff is like Ambient Works 2 or whatever.
Right, yeah.
Because it's just stuff that I can actually hum and sit and
gives you time to.
Yeah, and I think the reason
in.
I got into dubstep was like even like the really early stuff, it's like 2 drum loops and a melody is kind of what it is. Like I know the melody's in the bass, but it's still I can hum. Like you can name an old tune and I can just hum it and go.
Yeah.
But a lot of the stuff after, like as it got into the kind of more EDM phase, shall we say?
What with drum and bass?
Well, both. Like it's the same. There's bits of drum and bass.
There's total similarity. Basically, they're the same thing.
And same with all this trap stuff.
This is the thing that I feel that you've missed out on a lot of stuff, because essentially dubstep and drum and bass have followed a very similar pattern in terms of having subgenres and having, you know, a very large portion dedicated to the most sort of simple but technical side of sort of how much can we get out of one bass note and a filter, you know. And it's kind of like the tech drum and bass stuff used to bore the hell out of me. Like if you'd have a whole night of the same drum pattern, dun chut dun chut dun chut.
See, that's kind of when someone says drum and bass, my head just goes there.
Yeah, it goes there, and that is what drives me up the wall, because there were some great anthems made, like amazing tunes made with that drum pattern. When you're using that drum pattern and then you're not doing anything interesting with the drums, but then you're also not doing anything interesting with the bass.
He's not doing anything interesting.
It's not interesting.
But this is
the same with the dubstep thing. It's
totally.
Like boom, ka, or whatever it is.
A bunch of other like technically EQ'd snare shitties and some mid stuff. And
if you're not doing anything interesting with either the drums or the other sounds, then
this is exactly where like things like Avatar is a great example in cinema. It's gone the same way. Like Avatar technically is like was so ahead of its time, it's dumb.
Right. Yeah.
Like. And if it was a 5-minute demo, like a 3D thing, like a little 5-minute preamble before a film, I'd be like, this is amazing.
That's me, yeah.
90 minutes into it, I was like, this is just a shit Pocahontas with blue people. And it's fucking crap. There's no plot. Everyone's rubbish in it, and it's all green screen.
Yeah.
And it's like the tech was amazing, and he was like, I'm editing in goggles on set live. And it's like, wow, you still can't make a good film with billions of pounds of tech.
That's it.
And that's how I feel.
You need to have a good, but then that's kind of Hollywood as well. It's like...
But that's where kind of, I suppose, where drum and bass and dubstep went. They went Hollywood, inverted commas, in that everyone had a shitload of money, and they forgot that they were meant to be...
I think there's kids in bedrooms with no money making
but they're copying what they saw off...
Oh, right,
they see the big budget thing and go, I want to do that. So it's like there's kids in bedrooms that can now do stuff that looks nearly on a par with it. You know, there's people that can make PS4 level graphics in their bedroom. Because they've got a fast computer. But like I was saying to you earlier, because they don't actually know anything about animation, it lacks the fundamental skills. And it's also just someone else's idea that they've redone in a better skin.
Maybe,
so it's still not a new thing or a better thing. It's just more of... And I think that's where it's got to. And now, of course, especially in those industries, there's so much work in that. It's like I haven't seen an animated thing in years that I'm like, that's really out there and fun. Like, I've seen a few... Like, there's a film called The Red Turtle, which is fucking beautiful.
Right, I've not seen it.
It's like there's like 10 words in the whole film. It's by a Dutch... I think he's Dutch animator called Michael Dudok de Wit.
Right.
But he teamed up with Studio Ghibli. It's the first time they've ever worked with anyone else outside of their usual crew.
Right.
But it's just about these people that get stuck on an island.
Yeah.
And like this guy tries to escape and he can't, and like the island keeps pushing him back.
Wow.
And it's totally unflary.
Yeah.
But it's beautiful.
Have you seen
And then like the top film of the year was Show Dogs starring Ludacris or some shit, and it's like CGI dogs making fart noises, and you know.
Oh my god.
It's exhausting. But I feel the same.
Did you ever see, what was the Song of the Sea?
Oh mate, it's so good. No,
I was bawling my eyes out.
Yeah, it's so
it's amazing.
It's bloody well good.
Yeah.
But no music makes me have a little cry anymore.
No.
I don't know if
that,
I've just become a cynic or if there's actually not anything that makes me have a little cry now. But I don't have a little cry
well,
like I used to.
this Poddington Peas song is literally, I'm telling you.
I might have a cry when I see you in court.
She wrote it about
when I see you getting your pants sewed off, I might have a little cry then.
She wrote it about her late father.
Right.
And so all of the lyrics are just like the most like
But it's to the tune of the Poddington Peas.
But the melody of the Poddington Peas, not the chords, but the melody is there's sort of similarities there.
We need to play this later.
Yeah.
We have to.
And you'll bawl your eyes out.
Will I, or will I just think about the Poddington Peas?
Yeah, maybe.
Or the Boddington. I'm just going to think about the Boddington Peas.
You'll just be.
Poddington Peas are old news, mate. Boddington Peas all the way.
Yeah, but it is. Have you ever seen Press Pause Play?
No.
It's a video documentary made about the sort of advent of technology on the arts.
Okay.
It
already sounds awesome.
Super up your street.
Yeah.
And it's massively depressing.
Oh, it sounds great. I'm well in.
But also kind of optimistic, but
I don't like it now.
But it's like equal measures of both. So it's like showing what is possible.
Shows you the positive future, then rips it away from you with reality.
It's like a democratization of music making things.
So kind of like how the internet thought it was when it started.
Yeah,
and then how obviously going, nah, it didn't work.
But then how it also has it's like democracy.
It's now just landfill
like,
middle class white boys with their parents' money who can afford to sit for 10 years until they become famous DJs.
Maybe.
Classic.
Yeah.
The classic routine.
But it's quite interesting. There's one guy on it who's like the most cynical guy who I can't remember who he is. He's like a journalist or something. He made me
hate your life.
No, the opposite. The opposite. He gave me so much hope because he was so fucking miserable about it all.
And you thought, I can't ever be at the bottom.
No, but I meant that it felt that I had someone who
genuinely
understood.
Oh God, it's like me listening to Korn when I was 12.
Yeah, it's totally that. And he was like, "We're entering a new
age of
cultural
misery,
dark age." because of the internet.
I love that that's cheered you up. Some guy going
technology. Because everything is accessible to everyone. And you just end up with this white noise of stuff. I mean, and everyone putting shit out that's like half baked.
I feel we're about there.
Well, yeah, like with this podcast.
That's what I mean, yeah. Totally. How do you think I operate my label?
Yeah, absolutely. But then, and in doing so, you kind of lose sight of the craft of the, of the real art of the.
I started out as a filmmaker. I now make audio podcasts, and I know nothing about audio. So yeah. Totally lost sight of the goal, mate. 100%. Found an easy option.
But in a way, that gave me more. Like that makes me more encouraged to know that there are people that feel that's a thing, rather than just when you're feeling it by yourself and just feeling like
no one understands me.
Yeah, or well, maybe that, but like more a case of like I'm battling a tide of fucking mediocrity here. Not saying that my shit's amazing, but I'm just saying like
at least you try.
At least you're trying to make something else.
Yeah, but I agree. No, I agree. It's like I said to you about all this shit, like these podcasts and stuff. There's a reason I don't bother editing them.
Yeah.
And it's not just because I don't know how technically. That's about 75% of the battle, to be quite honest. But it's like everyone now censors everything and doesn't like play a tune because they might not be able to put it on a SoundCloud and they won't be able to monetize.
Yeah.
And it's like that's fine to a degree because everyone's got to make a living. But at the same time, all the big leaps in... I'm not saying this podcast is a big leap in any fucking thing.
One small step for mankind, mate.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to overstate our credentials. Shit doesn't get done when you're worrying about money. Shit gets done when you go, to hell with it, let's just do it anyway.
Absolutely,
and that's when you...
Absolutely.
Even if the release makes no money, that might be the release that kind of is the catalyst for the next thing you pick up. Or
someone in, the middle of nowhere will hear it and that'll inspire them to make something that then creates some other thing that then inspires
which they'll sign to a bigger label and we'll make no money off.
Well, no, but I mean, the more that, if everyone creates stuff in a sort of guarded mentality that like, oh God, I've got to like make money off this, then you just end up with everyone sounding the same, which is how the pop music world
and
works.
And you're then also working off that thing where everyone's working off a second guess, because you think you know what needs to be done and what it needs to sound like, but you're only thinking that because of what you've heard, and you haven't heard everything. You also don't know where it's going next, so that's actually a total false prophecy, because you're there going, oh no, well I need to do snare on this thing and I need to do a bongo here because otherwise XYZ won't play it, and then of course you just make something which they might not be playing anyway. So you've just, and then it's a facsimile of someone else's.
It goes further than that. Like I was seeing this. What was it? Someone posted something about A&Rs and how there was this sort of scenario where you have someone who's discovered an amazing band, right, or an amazing act, or amazing producer, or whatever, and they've decided to start up a label to showcase this amazing producer or these amazing acts or these, found some amazing thing that they want to put out there, and the label does really well off the back of it. The label becomes this big thing, starts signing acts, starts losing touch with what's good. So then they employ an A&R who's a young guy who's kind of in the scene, knows what's what. What does the young guy do? Well, he's going to sign what he thinks is going to be the success based on what's cool at the moment, not based on his gut feeling because he's a good A&R.
Or they go the other way and they sign what they think the label wants based on what they've done. So then you just end up it's back in the same channel.
Either repeating or if you need to do something else, you're just copying what is cool at the moment. There's none of that sort of gut feeling of I believe in this is a fucking great idea.
Yeah, but I get that a lot now with a lot of stuff I get sent. It's like, if I get sent stuff from other labels, it's like things that will sell 300 copies on vinyl, which isn't a bad thing. Like, I get you need to make some money.
It's like fodder.
But yeah, at the same time, like, there's how many labels that had, like, you find an artist, like when you're digging around in the old dubstep annals, you find an artist and it's like there's one brilliant tune that you're like, I've got to get it, and you go and find the EP on Discogs and it's 95 pence and everything else on it is crap. There's one brilliant tune but there's 3 bits of crap alongside it, and it's on a label you've barely ever heard of that did 3 or 4 releases. The tune's great and fair play for them for putting it out, but then it's like, if you'd have waited till you had 4 tunes of that one tune's quality, there's one absolutely bulletproof EP out there. Even if you never release anything else, you've got that one absolute triumph.
But would they have made more sales?
But that's the kind of that's the argument back the other way. As a person who pays for his own presses, I'm like, maybe I should just sell 300 records. And I get it from the other end. It's a horrible bind, because if you want to do the next one, you need to sell the first one. Most people that do this don't have the money to just sink loads of kind of left field releases. So, but then I suppose, like Martin Scorsese's always said, the way he works his films is he does one for the studio, one for himself.
Right.
So he makes a film that he knows will shit gold. Yeah. So like Shutter Island, The Departed.
Right. Yeah.
And then he'll go and make a film that's like a passion project that probably won't tank because he's a bit too big to really tank a release. But he went and made like The Aviator, the Howard Hughes documentary. Biopic, and the one recently about the Catholic Church, which I've not seen.
Yeah, Spotlight.
No, not Spotlight. No, that's not. That's the one about the journalist. No, this one's about some missionaries travelling to Japan to save Liam Neeson.
Oh god.
Who's not in punch terrorist in the face mode.
Yeah.
It's called.
But it's pretty brutal anyway.
Yeah, but it's like pretty hard as nails bleak film.
Yeah.
Because Scorsese is like a proper godbotherer.
Right.
Like he's really but like he makes those films because he wants to.
Right.
But then he made Wolf of Wall Street knowing he could bankroll whatever was next and so part of me's like, maybe that's how you need to roll. Do your kind of 4-tracker that sells 300 instantly and sells out, then do your weird left field one, then back to the...
Fingers in underage pies, man.
We should get it. That's a t-shirt. It's possibly a Purple City t-shirt. Just Purple City, fingers in underage pies. With a Pucker Pie logo underneath. Just Pucker Love.
But no, I mean, I think it's definitely, that's the sort of approach that I've taken to it. Like, I've given up on...
Life?
Yeah, that. But, like, trying to please anyone you know, in a certain niche, like I get too easily bored. And so I felt like if I was trying to persist with a DJ career and putting out single after single and doing all that sort of stuff in a certain genre, you know, your audience is growing and moving on or changing their tastes or whatever. But as far as from your perspective, your audience is always the same age and always into a certain thing, and you're constantly having to reinvent yourself or try and keep up with whatever the thing is.
Yeah, with the trend within the pocket.
That's going on, and it's like, it's nonsense. And also what we were talking about, you know, promoters that are doing it for the love because they're not making any money, and you know, you're onto a hiding to nothing basically with it. But it's fine, and I'm happy to do it, and I love DJing as long as I've got other things that I'm doing, you know, and other means to make music, and I can just start making a tune at a tempo, and I don't have to start worrying, oh God, who's going to play this, or is this going to fit into whatever genre, or, you know, is this good for my DJ career or whatever,
for my future.
Yeah, exactly.
But I find it bizarre.
I just want to be able to work with people and like.
I find it odd, maybe because I actually got into music at a really late age. Like, I didn't really get into music till I was like 13, 14.
Right.
Like, before that, I didn't listen to. I literally just watched films. I didn't listen to anything, and the only music I knew was shit from films, really.
Right.
But to me, it's bizarre because, like, if a director, like John Carpenter is a great example. I'm a big John Carpenter fan.
Yeah.
But a classic criticism of John Carpenter is every film he makes is just a remake of Assault on Precinct 13, which in itself is a remake of Rio Bravo or El Dorado, the Howard Hawks films.
Right.
And to me, it's funny because as a director, if you made 2 westerns in a row, someone would be like, can you do anything other than westerns, mate? Like, that's kind of, you're expected to do bring
stuff.
your thing to everything. Whereas in music, it's like the inverse of that.
Yeah.
And if you move away, people are like, oh, you don't like dubstep anymore, you don't like techno now.
You've got to be a sausage factory. And
yeah.
I felt that as well as a consumer.
Yeah.
Because when I was DJing, you know, drum and bass tunes, like Break is, you know, for drum and bass, like, so consistent. Every tune of his was like, buy on site, it's going to be banging, so well produced. But then I got to a point of it was like, he's got a formula.
Yeah,
and he's
I think I've got this one.
Just doing the same thing. That doesn't undermine his abilities, like, as a musician or as an artist.
But how many of those do you need on your shelf?
That's the thing.
Yeah.
And then obviously then I've followed him since, and he's been doing other stuff, and he's been doing like other genres and things, and it's really interesting. But there was a point where it was kind of like he had obviously built up quite a catalogue of stuff. Yeah. And was releasing it quite consistently, and I was like, well, that's going to be a banger. I'll just buy that. Yeah. Right, I'll get that. That'll be great. And I was just sort of came to a realisation of just like, people are just into churning out the same thing.
Well, it's like a threshing machine. It's just like, but in film, it's like Star Wars at the minute is a good example. Like and Marvel is another one.
It's like to create
they're on a formula
identity,
and you're I like Marvel films. I like Star Wars. I like a lot more. But like, I went and saw the last thing. It's one of the worst things I've ever seen. The Han Solo film is fucking abysmal. I did just think it's the first time with a Star Wars film I've ever fought it. But I was like, do I need to do this anymore? Like, I know where it's gonna go roughly from start to finish.
Yeah, you can see the plot happen.
And Marvel's the same. Like Black Panther, really good film, but the plot and the beats of the plot and narratively are exactly the same as Iron Man, Doctor Strange. Yeah. And I actually prefer it to both of those films. It's a better film. It's a more refined... The VFX are really dodgy. But it's a better film overall. But I was like, do I need to do this again? Because I know how it ends. The hero obviously doesn't die. Bad guy gets vanquished. Everyone learns something about themselves and becomes a more rounded character for the sequel. Yeah. And it was just like I got to that point where as an adult, I'm sure kids fucking shit their pants and eat all the popcorn and watch it 4 times in a row. But I just got to that point where
you've got to remember that, like, you there was probably a time when you were
totally.
going to films thinking this is the most amazing thing.
As you were just saying, you get to that point where if the art you're moving with isn't moving with you, you just move on. And
exactly.
in a weird way, I don't really read them, and the films are all right, but I was never. But my girlfriend's proper obsessed with she loved Harry Potter as a kid.
Right. Okay.
And I was slightly older than that. Like I was a bit ahead of that. It's like those books. When you get to the last few, they're really quite grown up because the target audience had grown up, and the books actually
so it's like an entire generation.
And that's what my girlfriend said. She was like, we went to Harry Potter World at Warner Brothers recently, and it was I was proper cynical about going, and it was like 55 quid a head. I was like, fuck this, fucking best day out ever. Ran around in the old sorting hat. I shit myself. Had a great time.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was like, I grew up with this and it grew up with me. Like I got to the end and it was at the same level as me because it had kind of...
I think possibly a similar thing with drum and bass in the terms of I, got my sort of way in was Prodigy. So maybe
which
Rave,
era Prodigy? When they came through or...
Yeah, like Experience and then on to Jilted Generation and then...
Right. See, I found all that much, much, much later.
Right.
Like the first Prodigy album I heard was Invaders Must Die, probably.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So I was like, this is fucking crud.
Yeah. I was already being checking out around Part of the Land, but there was a few bangers on there. But still, I kind of... In terms of rave culture, obviously I'd missed the boat in terms of the 80s.
Mate, I missed the boat. I missed the boat on dubstep. I missed the boat on everything.
But in terms of getting into jungle and the way that rave then became jungle and then jungle became drum and bass, and I was thinking why has it gone all boring when the sort of hectic amens had gone to boom chit boom chit boom,
Yeah, see, I find jungle far more interesting.
Well, that's
personally.
the thing. That's what
it's a bit
got
cruddy
me hooked
and a bit all over the gaff.
Yeah, but then I started searching out the bits where people would be playing with, drum and bass was happening, but there were tunes that weren't just and there was a lot more interesting and exciting stuff happening in the sort of, and you start getting into therapy sessions. I don't know if you heard of who was it who ran it? Therapy sessions was
it sounds like something hospital.
Robin Chaos was the girl, and Dylan, I think. But I mean a load of stuff in there. It's just Line Wax, Current Value, Dylan, Robin Chaos. I can't even think of who else is in there. But there's loads of stuff in there that's just when they kind of followed a route,
their own little trajectory.
Trajectory from jungle.
But it's like we were saying earlier, people like Martin and Brackles and the Hessel and Hemlock
followed
stuff.
their own route.
It was there were bits of dubstep and bits of garage, but it was you couldn't put either in a set.
Totally.
Clean. It was its own little, and they went off on their own track. And I actually think I've nothing against techno per se, but I think it's a shame that so many of that lot have become, they're just into such regimented 4/4, and I feel it's taken the eccentricity away from what they make, because some of that stuff was nothing you've ever heard, Beacon and Test Signal by Untold. Two of the weirdest things I've ever heard, but I still listen to them every day. Not every day, but I just drag them up out of nowhere, just talking now, because they're the first
and
things.
And they're timeless because they're so eccentric.
Yeah, they're just their own little thing. It's just weird little things, aren't
whatever,
they?
Yeah.
But then I listen to Untold's new stuff, and I don't dislike it, but it doesn't get me the same way.
Kind of a bit more generic.
Yeah,
because
and
Randomer. It's had to fit into a certain style.
And Randomer's the same. His early things were really they had so much swing on them and they were so off kilter. But now it's the same sound.
He put out a tune called Rough Sex.
Yeah.
Mate.
Fucking ridiculous thing.
I used to end sets with that and people were just blown. What is this? Mad shit. And then obviously Ivy Lab as well came doing that half speed stuff as well.
Yeah, all the halftime thing.
It's just it's its own thing, and I fucking rate it. Unit, he's his own thing.
Yeah, totally.
And I rate that. there's so much inspiring shit, but then there's so much like middle of the road boring shit.
And the problem is the inspiring shit is so, but like we were
It's
saying
lost
about like
because
silky
it doesn't
stuff.
fit into things.
Because it doesn't fit clean in. It's hard to play in a set
And I
without
feel-
being stuck in a
I
cul-de-sac.
feel like
where
when
you're
I
like,
start
can't,
trying to
just
play my own stuff, then I feel like, oh God, what am I going to do now? Because
But what you need to
there's
do,
no other stuff.
We've
that's,
we've
like,
already
mixes
solved
with it.
this problem. What you need to do is, Dom, you need to get a crashing train and a massive exploding light up prostitute, and people won't even notice that you've gone off.
I need the budget for that and some cake.
Prostitutes
I'll
aren't
throw
that
some cake at
expensive.
some
You can get a cake. You can get one of them caterpillar ones from Tesco for like $6.99, mate. Just get one of them for. Just start small. Start small and build.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Right, let's give Quest a ring.
Yeah, do that.
We said we were going to
put
give him a bell.
Put a little pause on the
Well,
old
can we?
recording.
We're going to record ringing him. But
Oh,
can we ring him and make it sound good, or is that?
Can you ring him and I'll go and
You get
source
no. I'll
some
ring him.
ice
Get
out.
the source the ice cubes. We'll ring Questy when you're back.
Okay.
Is there any way we can like mainline the phone call into the recorder? Is that techers?
Put it on speakerphone.
All right.
Yeah,
You're the expert. I don't know.
it's fine.
I thought that would be a bit rudimentary.
My dear Watson.
I'm not an expert, mate. Doing a bit of Moose T versus Corn. I think we should. Can we edit these together? You've probably got the techers for this, mate. Let's do it. Do you remember mashups? Like,
No.
mate, early 2000s uni, it was just mashups. DJs just playing mashups. We need to get some mashups, mate.
I've had that moment of realisation, you know, when you sort of exit the room and you... Oh,
Realise I
God.
pissed you. That's not even frozen.
That's just water, that is. Mate, we might have to go out and do this.
Let's do it in the corridor.
But,
You realise how pissed you were?
well, no, you realise sort of how...
Much shit you've been talking.
Yeah, you're just sort
How
of
empty
like...
your life is.
No, but
I
like...
have these
how
realisations
it's
once
like,
a day, mate.
Oh, God, my music's so amazing. No one else is doing stuff like it. It's like, it's so bullshit. It's
Whatever,
like,
mate. It's going out anyway.
It's such, like, fucking egotistical shit.
Yeah, but I don't think it is. I think we've been quite analytical. I think we've kind of... We've not even said that we're any good. I mean, we've regularly slapped this podcast.
True. I mean,
But-
true. It's not like I'm actually saying that my music is amazing. I'm just saying, like...
At least you try.
the-
All you need to do is try, mate.
Well, it's more that there's, like, you know, just not just copying what is there already. Or if you're doing that, then doing a version of it that's slightly different rather than just straight, you know, doing more of the same.
In saying that, didn't you just bootleg the Poddington Peas?
No, because I didn't do it
No,
consciously. That's the thing. That's the difference.
But I like that I like that when stripped down to your naked subconscious, all you can come up with is the Poddington Peas theme tune. That's the best bit of the whole
But,
situation.
you know, no,
It's
because
just
I
like-
didn't actually write the melody. She wrote the melody,
Right.
and then I came
So you were
away,
just a victim.
and
Mine's
then I
actually
realised
water. That's
that I'd done
actually
the
water.
entire session. Yeah,
It's got a
fucked,
pint of
mate.
water in it. It's fine. It's all right.
What are we just going with that?
Yeah, we just
going
roll with that.
Cold water.
We've all had a few.
Fine. All right.
To be honest, I'm pissed out of my skulls. Don't
Great.
panic.
Set tonight's going to be great. It's going to be no clangs.
I can't wait. Right, on the subject of clangs, let's give Quest a ring.
Ah,
Hey, see how I segued there?
they're very nice.
Classic. Right, he's on the speaker.
Is he going to answer?
Probably not, you know what he's like. He's probably still in the bloody pub.
That's true.
No, I don't think he's going to answer.
No.
I don't like slackers.
is the
Oh,
Vodafone
fuck off,
voicemail
Darren.
service for
He's a bloody
07.
nuisance. We'll leave him a mess.
Please leave a message
You've
after
just
the
given
tone.
his number away on the podcast.
Sorry, we'll bleep that bit.
You're gonna have to bleep that
the
bit.
hash key for more options.
He never answers his phone. What does it matter? Questy, old boy, we tried to ring you. Where are you? You're meant to be on the podcast. This is your section, mate.
Oh, God.
It's all going badly for Dom.
I've got Angostura
Bye, mate.
all over my keyboard.
That's all right. They're not massively colourful and going to stain it immediately. Oh, no, yeah, that's...
No, they are.
Yeah, they might be.
And it might stop the recording.
Uh-oh. Are we still... we're still going.
Are we still going?
Nice. Could you not have taken the batteries out before you did that?
I could have turned it off.
Well, yeah, I mean, either one of them would have been great. It's fine.
It's fine.
I mean...
We're still going strong.
We're more... Like, as we've said many times when talking about both your music and everything else, we're more about form than finesse. It's about the ideas, not the execution.
Yeah.
It's very much not what we focus on here.
Just throw shit at a wall, hope some of it sticks.
Mate, we can't even afford a wall. We'll throw it at a tent, bit of tarpaulin.
Bit of tops.
I mean, anything. You name it, we'll throw shit at it. Bus. You know, we're moving targets, not a problem.
So, did you have any things that you wanted to talk about before?
I mean... I think we've
forgotten them all.
I think we've thoroughly covered everything, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, we've done paedophilia, social injustice, how boring music is. I can't think of it. I can't think of much, to be honest.
Brexit.
I mean,
is it best not to?
I mean,
I
think we've already.
Everyone's had their own.
I don't
hot
even.
takes.
Well, the thing is, though, it's now got to the point where I don't even know where we are. I can't even make a hot take because I literally don't know what's going on.
It's interesting. A friend of mine put up a post about how he was done something to himself and ended up in A&E and was waiting for ages, and the other people in the queue were complaining.
Right.
And he got chatting to them, and one of them had said something like, "I thought that Brexit was supposed to have solved the NHS crisis. I thought, what happened to that 350 million or whatever that I voted for, right?" Then my mate was kind of going, well, one, Brexit hasn't actually happened
Yeah,
yet.
we're still
and
going.
He was like, what?
Say what?
So, yeah, there's that. And then also, he was like, well, also that was a massive lie. And he was like, oh, well, how do I change my phone?
see, this is where I run into hot water.
Right.
Because as an open-minded and tolerant young liberal, wouldn't it be better if that guy just died in the corridor? Like, would it not be better if he just expired in the hallway?
My mate did say that, like, the majority of the people in the waiting line were white British, and the majority of the staff trying to take care of them were not white British.
I mean, I almost want to just give all those staff who get all that shit, just give them a biro tip with MRSA.
Yeah,
just go around, just give people a little dig.
People, yeah.
Anyone who gets too leery, just write them up. Like, I mean, I'm like one of those.
Save the NHS the hassle.
Yeah, I'm like a totalitarian lefty. I've got to this point now where I'm like
Stalin.
Yeah, well, no, I'm not even. I can't even be bothered to go to them levels. Just like, if you get the opportunity, just drop someone.
Just drop them.
Like, just drop a righty because they're being a cunt. And
Are you responsible for these attacks? These what's it called? Something sounds very.
What,
Russian.
In Salisbury?
Yeah.
No, I ain't got that sort of budget, mate. I can't afford to buy Litvinenko sushi.
Scripple.
Skippole.
No, that's the airport.
Can of Skull. 3.8%. You ain't gonna do much damage with that. It's not gonna help.
No, true.
No, I don't know. I've given up trying now because, like, the thing is, I sort of listen to these fucking righties banging on. I'm like, oh, shut the fuck up. But then I listen to all the lefties and I'm like, oh, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, no.
And it turns out I just hate everyone. I'm just full of apathy. I just can't be fucked with any of you now.
Yeah, I get it.
I just don't know. I don't know where it's gonna end.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, maybe
it's almost as if Russell Brand and his whole, like, anti-voting stance. But
Full
no,
circle.
because the thing is, he came out with this whole anti-voting stance,
And then said he should have voted.
just before Brexit.
Yeah.
Changed his mind and was like, no, actually, you really should vote. Just in time for all the people who wouldn't necessarily have voted to then be like, yeah, I want change, so therefore
Off we go.
Brexit.
Yeah,
And not understanding what Brexit meant.
I don't know how useful he's been in the whole thing. I mean, I really like him as a comedian.
Russell Brand
I really
for
like
Brexit.
him. I really find him
That's what I'm
amusing as a
getting at.
comedian. But like, you know,
Doesn't really know what he's talking about.
if he
That's
comes
the
round your
time.
house going, put the baby in the oven and lend me a tenner, you're not going to go, righto, yeah, you're famous. You may or may
true.
not have bonked Katy
And maybe
Perry
I'm
once.
giving him more credit than he's due, because probably most people just ignored him. And
I don't
didn't
know,
really
is you- but
vote
the-
because he told them to, or told them not to.
But the problem is we're in that horrible thing now where like his videos get loads of views on YouTube.
Yeah.
But does that actually mean a fucking thing? You can have a song that gets loads of hits and you make no money
No,
and no one gives a fuck and no one comes to your tour. So
Yeah.
does it matter if he's on
Case in
YouTube?
point.
I'm glad you said it before me. But what does it mean anymore? It's just numbers. We've gone
Yeah.
stats mad.
And also, like,
world is mad
it's
for
interesting that,
statistics.
like, they'll go, oh, so and so's got, however many million plays on YouTube. But if you're the, Gardener's World on BBC Two, you get
Millions of
millions.
plays. Yeah.
And like
And
that's
on-
in just one moment of
And
time.
on YouTube make all the money.
Yeah.
Like, you don't make anything off
Yeah.
millions of plays. You make a couple of grand
No, exactly.
or something.
It's mad.
It's like I can make that renting a house out or something. Like there's easier ways to make a couple of grand than getting a fucking million play hit tune on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's horrible. The world's shit.
Yeah. When are we gonna start cutting ourselves?
Don't know. Just trying to let it roll. See where we end up. Fucking fine, mate. Quality control is not my main concern.
Just make sure you.
Questy's not
plenty
picked the
of
phone up yet,
tissues
has he?
down before you start.
It's alright, you haven't got any expensive kit in here, it's fine.
It's fine.
It's
Yeah.
alright. We'll give Quest one more ring, then we'll just phone in. Then we'll just go to the pub.
Yeah, I mean, all these guys are like blowing up the messenger feed big time.
Well, they would. They need to borrow a USB
They're all
hub.
so hyped. Oh my god, look at this fucking thread.
Mate, send them this podcast, they'll soon be unhyped. We'll knock the wind out of their sails, son. Oh, fuck Quest and fuck this podcast.
He's not.
That was Sonic Waffle episode 2 with Dom Howard, aka
Football's
Ruckspin of
coming home.
Submotion Football's Coming Home Orchestra. Yeah. See you in a year's time when we do episode 3. What buttons turn this thing off?
Spacebar.
Sonic Waffle. Listen. Fuck what you heard.